The sound hit before the truck came into view, gravel crunching, tires grinding down the private road that hadn't seen company in days. Harlen Voss stepped out from the shade of his porch, hands still damp from the rag he'd used to wipe down the tool chest. He squinted toward the bend in the driveway. Then it appeared. A white utility truck. Clean, no rust, but something was off. No company logo, no license plates on the front. Just a clipboard on the dash and 3 men inside who didn't belong. Not here. Harlen didn't move. Just stood at the gate, boots planted in the dirt, eyes fixed. He'd seen this kind of setup before. Not out here, but overseas. Places where uniforms meant less than what was behind the eyes. The truck slowed to a stop. The engine idled. Then the doors opened. 3 men stepped out. Middle of the day. No shame in it. The first man was thin, twitchy. Early 20s maybe. Kept rubbing his hands. Nervous. The second was older, taller, and quiet. Stayed behind the others. Watchful. The third walked like he owned the ground. Mid-40s. Cold eyes. Black sunglasses. Carried the clipboard like it meant something. Harlen didn't say a word. Clipboard man spoke first. Afternoon, sir. We're with the Zoning Compliance Task Division. Need to check the property for regulation infractions. Just a routine sweep. Harlen raised one brow. You got ID? Clipboard man flashed a badge-shaped plastic card. Too fast. Too blurry. Harlen didn't blink. Didn't move. Just stared. I didn't request an inspection, Harlen said. It's mandated, clipboard man replied. Unpermitted structures, fencing violations, setbacks from road access. You know how it is. We just need a quick look around. Won't take more than 10 minutes. The nervous one glanced toward the side of the house. The quiet one stood stone still. Harlen's voice stayed calm. You're not stepping through that gate. Clipboard man smiled thinly. We're authorized, sir. No, Harlen said, his tone flat, certain. You're not. The wind shifted. Dry dust curled around the truck's tires. The place was too quiet. Even the birds had gone still. Harlen stepped closer to the gate. Let me see that paperwork. Clipboard man hesitated, then handed it over. Harlen took it slow. Read the top line. Notice of code violation. No agency letterhead. No seal. Just bold font and a bunch of long sentences. Half the text was generic legalese. The rest was nonsense. Who signed this? He asked. Clipboard man didn't answer. Harlen looked up. This isn't real. Nervous guy flinched. We're just here to help, man. Harlen stared. The younger one wouldn't meet his eyes. The quiet one still hadn't spoken. Clipboard man leaned forward, voice lower now. Look, let's not make this hard. We just need to confirm what's out back. You've got a couple outbuildings not on record. This goes easier if you cooperate. You step through that gate, Harlen said, and I call the sheriff. Clipboard man's jaw tensed. We're already here. Might as well save the paperwork. I like paperwork, Harlen said. Keeps things honest. The truck's engine idled behind them, hot metal ticking in the heat. Clipboard man took a step closer to the gate. That's when Harlen lifted his phone. No bluff. He tapped the emergency contact. Nervous guy panicked. Dren, maybe we should just... Shut up, Trey, clipboard man snapped. That was the first name Harlen caught. Dren. He looked at them again, slower this time. Matching shirts. All navy blue. No insignia. Black boots, too clean. Not a speck of mud. And the clipboard? Looked like it had been laminated at a corner print shop. This wasn't about zoning. It wasn't even about money. This was a test. See how far they could push before someone pushed back. The gate stayed shut. Harlen didn't yell. Didn't posture. He just held the line. 10 minutes later, a dust trail kicked up on the road behind the truck. Backup. The first cruiser arrived fast. Second one just seconds after. Deputy Rhea Salinas stepped out first. Sunglasses, badge on her hip. Hand near her belt. Sharp eyes. She took in the scene fast. Lieutenant Cole Brannick followed. Taller. Slower. Wore the weight of his badge like it was carved in stone. The moment shifted. The 3 men stiffened. Dren tried to speak. Brannick cut him off. Let's see the paperwork, he said. Dren handed over the clipboard like it was no big deal. Brannick flipped through the pages. His expression didn't change. But when he looked at Harlen, he nodded. You were right. No headers, no signatures, Salinas added. This isn't legal. Brannick stepped toward the truck. Who does this vehicle belong to? No answer. Salinas walked to her cruiser. Ran the plates. Came back a minute later. Trucks reported missing, she said. From a rental yard in town. Stolen 3 days ago. Brannick sighed. That'll do it. He motioned to Salinas. Start detaining. We'll separate them. Trey, the nervous one, sat down in the dirt. Didn't argue. Just stared at his hands like they weren't his. The quiet one didn't flinch as the cuffs went on. Dren didn't resist. But he didn't blink either. Harlen stood still. Watching. Not speaking. Brannick walked over. Appreciate you holding them here. They held themselves, Harlen said. Didn't have the guts to push through. We've had similar complaints, Brannick said. Over in Pine Hollow and Sandridge. Folks reporting inspectors showing up with bogus forms. Looks like your place was next on the list. Harlen glanced at Trey. He looks like he's about to talk. Brannick nodded. We'll give him space. If he's smart, he'll give us something. And Trey did. A few minutes later, as Salinas was logging the scene, Trey started talking. Fast. Then slow. Then like he didn't know how to stop. I didn't know, he kept saying. I thought it was just scare tactics. Make people think they'd miss something. He said no one checks out here. Said just wear a shirt, flash a clipboard, and people would pay. Brannick crouched near him. Who's he? Trey pointed at Dren. Brannick didn't even turn. Figures. Then came the twist. Trey looked up. Eyes wide now. We've been doing this a while. Couple houses already. They paid. I saw it. $100. 200. One guy gave us 500 just to leave. Harlen felt something tighten in his chest. How many houses? Brannick asked. 6, Trey said. Maybe more. Retired folks. Some didn't even speak English. We scared them. That's what he wanted. Brannick stood. Salinas came back from the cruiser. Her face had changed. Just got a flag from dispatch, she said. There's an open case file in Cross Bend. Same MO fake crew. A homeowner lost $1,500. Harlen looked at Brannick. They're not just scamming. They're mapping. Brannick nodded. That's what we think. Places without neighbors. Owners with no family nearby. Military veterans. Isolated. The wind picked up. Harlen's dog padded up beside him. Sat at his feet. Watched the road. Brannick leaned in, voice low. We found footage last week. 2 guys behind a house in Rock Mesa. Same truck. No uniforms. Gloves on. Walking slow. Like they were measuring doors. Harlen's voice dropped. Burglary? Or worse, Brannick said. Salinas loaded the quiet one, Wit, into the cruiser. Dren didn't say a word. Just sat down like the cuffs were temporary. Harlen watched him. That stare didn't shake. Brannick noticed. He's not worried, Brannick said. Thinks he'll walk. Will he? Harlen asked. Depends what Trey gives us. Harlen didn't look away. He'll talk. He's scared. Brannick nodded. You ever think about joining the department? Harlen gave a humorless half-grin. I came out here to stop wearing badges. No offense taken, Brannick said. They left not long after. The cruisers pulled away. Dust hung in the air, then settled. Harlen went back inside. Didn't speak. Didn't think. Just listened to the quiet. He could have left it there, but he didn't. An hour later, he opened his laptop. Typed one short message to the local listserv. 3 men pretending to be officials came to my property today with fake documents and attempted access. Sheriff has taken them into custody. Don't open your gate to anyone without proof. Ask questions. Keep records. Don't assume they're real. He clicked send. Then he shut the lid. Out the window, the field was calm again. But something had changed. The illusion of quiet was gone. And far down the road, beyond the range of his sight, someone else was already getting a knock at their door. It started with a message. 12 hours after Harlen Voss posted to the listserv, a reply pinged in. Then another. By dawn, there were 8. By noon, 37. All with the same story. Different faces. Different uniforms. Same clipboard. Same fear. Harlen read each message in silence. Some were shaky and short, others full of anger. But every one of them had the same ending line. I didn't think to question them. Then came the photos. One email showed the same white truck, parked outside a mobile home near Red Wash Ridge. Another came from an older couple in Haven Pines. Their Ring camera caught Dren at the gate, eyes hidden behind those dark glasses. The worst came from a woman in Low Hollow. Widow. Lives alone. The footage was grainy, but clear enough to show Wit stepping over her fence at night. Hands gloved. Face calm. She never reported it. Didn't want to cause a fuss, she wrote. Just figured I imagined it. Harlen stared at that line a long time. He forwarded everything to Deputy Salinas, then shut his laptop and stared out the window. The land looked the same, but now he could feel it breathing, watching, like the quiet had teeth. Sheriff's office launched the investigation officially the next morning. Operation Shieldline. Brannick was led. Salinas ran point. But something was wrong. Dren wasn't talking. Neither was Witt. Only Trey. And even he was starting to pull back. "He's scared," Salinas said, standing on Harlen's porch that evening. "He says Dren told him stories. About people who disappear if they snitch. Says it's not just them." Harlen leaned against the rail. "What do you mean?" Salinas glanced over her shoulder before speaking again. "Trey thinks this isn't just some freelance crew. Says Dren has connections. Someone funding the trucks, printing the documents, telling them which homes to hit." Harlen didn't respond. Just listened to the wind scrape across the trees. "Thing is," Salinas added, "he's not wrong. We ran some checks. Dren was never booked under that name. No driver's license. No property records. And the fingerprints." She paused. "They came back tied to a man who died 3 years ago in a fire in Las Lomas." Harlan's eyes narrowed. "So he's using a dead man's identity. Or someone wants us to think he is." They both went quiet again. Then she handed him a photo. "Recognize this?" It was grainy. Surveillance shot. But Harlen saw it clearly. Dren, Witt, and a third man. Not Trey. This one was older. Bigger. Tattoo on his neck. Standing with them behind a rundown gas station. Talking. No uniforms. No clipboard. Just business. "This was taken 6 months ago," Salinas said. "Outside a shuttered fuel depot. The place was empty. Cameras still worked." "You know who the man is?" Harlen shook his head. "We do," she said. "Private security out of East Narrows. His name's Calder Pike. 2 prior arrests, trespassing and assault. Charges dropped both times. His company went bankrupt last year. He's been off the grid since." Harlen looked up. "So what's he doing with Dren and Witt?" "That's the part we can't figure out," Salinas said. "But we just got a tip this morning." She pulled a map from her pocket, spread it on the porch rail. "Someone spotted that same white truck heading west out of Dry Creek Valley 3 days before it hit your place. It took a back road. Leads out to Old Tar Canyon. Not much out there." Harlen pointed. "That's ranch land." "Mostly," she said. "But there's an old agey barn up there. Belonged to a seed company that folded in '09. Property's still empty. No power. But locals say they've seen activity at night. Lights. Trucks. People coming and going. You going out there?" Harlen asked. Salinas hesitated. "We are. But Brannick wants backup from the state. And they're moving slow. Paperwork. Jurisdiction. All of it. So they wait." She didn't answer. Then her radio chirped. A voice cut through the static. "Unit 6, this is dispatch. Report just came in." 911 hang up. Caller dropped after saying they're back. "Location, Hayward Ranch." Repeat, Hayward Ranch. Salinas stiffened. Harlan's jaw clenched. "That's 2 miles from here." By the time they reached the property, the sun had dropped low. Shadows stretched long over the dry grass. The gate hung open. One hinge cracked. The house beyond was small, battered by wind. Porch light flickering. Salinas approached first, hand on her holster. Harlen stayed close behind. The front door was ajar. No sound inside. They stepped in slow. The house was empty. Furniture overturned. A coffee mug shattered on the floor. The phone lay in 2 pieces by the window. But no sign of a struggle. Salinas moved to the back. "Clear," she called out. Harlen scanned the walls. Photos. A woman. Early 60s. And a teenage boy. Smiling. Graduation cap. He looked at the table. A plate of food untouched. Still warm. "Who lives here?" he asked. Salinas checked the mail stack. "Clara Hayward. Widowed. Her grandson stays weekends." She turned toward the open window. The curtain fluttered in the wind. Then they both heard it. A sound. Footsteps. Soft. Behind the house. Salinas moved first. Harlen followed. They rounded the side and stopped cold. Trey. Alone. Sitting in the dirt. Hands shaking. Harlen stepped forward. "What the hell are you doing here?" Trey looked up. Eyes bloodshot. Face pale. "They brought me here," he whispered. "Said I needed to see it." "Who?" Salinas asked sharply. Trey didn't answer. Just pointed behind him. To the barn. 100 yards out. Half collapsed. Door swinging in the breeze. Salinas drew her sidearm. Stay here. Harlen moved beside her. I'm going. She looked at him. Hard. Then nodded. They approached slow. The ground soft underfoot. Inside, it was dark. Smelled like oil and dirt and something sharper, chemical. Salinas clicked her light on. And there it was. A map. Pinned to the far wall. Dozens of red dots. Each one labeled. Some circled. Others crossed out. Harlen stepped closer. Every dot was a home. Every home matched the emails he'd read. Low Hollow. Sandridge. Pine Hollow. Dry Creek Valley. And his. But the newest one, the biggest circle, was marked Hayward. Salinas lifted a small lockbox from a shelf. Inside were IDs. Dozens. All fake. Different names. Photos. Matching the crew. Different badges. Different roles. Inspectors. Gas company. Code enforcers. Even a fire marshal. Harlen stared at the pile. They had a system. Salinas nodded grimly. This isn't freelance. This is coordinated. Then her light caught something else. A laptop. Still open. On the screen, security footage. From inside Clara Hayward's house. Harlen's blood went cold. They were watching. They're still watching, Salinas whispered. Then her radio flared. Unit 6, come in. We've got another report. 2 black SUVs pulled off on Road 18 near the East Ridge. Witness says 4 men entered a home without knocking. Harlen's mind raced. East Ridge. That was miles from here. They were splitting up, creating chaos. And somewhere behind it all, someone was giving orders. He turned to Salinas. We need to find Dren. We will, she said. But first, she stopped. Trey was gone. The spot where he'd sat was empty. No sound. No footprints. Just an open gate, swaying in the wind. Harlen stared into the dark. The silence was back. But this time, it wasn't calm. It was waiting. The wind was wrong. Harlen felt it as soon as they left the barn. Too still. Too clean. The gate Trey had slipped through swung once. Then stopped. As if it had never moved. Salinas called in backup, but the radio crackled, dead signal. No response. No static. Just silence. Harlen's gut twisted. The kind of twist that didn't let go. They were being watched. Not from the road. Not from the hills. From somewhere closer. Inside the perimeter. The laptop in the barn hadn't been recording. It had been streaming. A live feed. To someone else. Harlen and Salinas search for Clara Hayward. They find her old truck parked behind a feed silo. But no keys. No purse. No sign of a struggle. Only a bloodied shoelace wrapped around the ignition. And a name carved into the dashboard. Calder. Everything changes. The crew wasn't just casing homes. They were harvesting them. Marking the ones no one would miss. Each red, that wasn't just a scam. It was a target. Harlen and Salinas traced the laptop's signal to a transmission tower deep in the backcountry. There they find surveillance servers, running, humming, active. Wired to portable generators. And hard drives. Dozens of them. Each labeled with dates. And addresses. And victims. Some folders are encrypted. Others contain video files. Conversations. GPS pings. Even intercepted sheriff's calls. Whoever was behind this wasn't afraid of the law. They were listening to it. And ahead of it, Salinas reaches out to Brannick. This time he answers. But his voice is wrong. Flat. Controlled. He tells them to stand down. Says they've gone beyond jurisdiction. Says they're interfering with an ongoing, interagency operation. But Harlen hears something else. A voice. Behind Brannick. Low. Confident. Familiar. It wasn't Brannick who gave the order to back off. It was Dren. And Brannick obeyed. Harlen Voss didn't sleep that night. The knock from Brannick's cruiser door, the way the deputy avoided his eyes, and the one name left unsaid, it all sat heavy in Harlen's chest. Lena Roth had vanished. The woman who'd spoken out after Harlen's listserv warning. The one who'd recognized Dren's face from a grocery store parking lot. She hadn't shown up for work. Her car was still in her driveway. But her back door was unlocked. And her dog was inside, whining. Brannick had said it with steel in his voice. This isn't over. Harlen had just nodded. But his gut had already told him. They missed one. The next morning, Dry Creek Valley looked like it always did, silent. Deceptively still. The sun crawled over the ridge, casting long shadows across Harlen's back porch. He sipped black coffee and watched the road, gravel untouched, wind teasing the old chimes that hadn't sung in months. But Harlen's mind was moving. He went back inside, pulled out the file. It wasn't much. Printouts of emails from neighbors. Notes on the three who came to his gate: Dren, Trey, Witt. Maps. His own scribbled patterns. One caught his eye. A small red circle. Southeast of Dry Creek proper. Just outside the old cattle yards. A cluster of land parcels. All pending inspection, according to the fake notices. Harlen tapped the paper once. It was time to go. He didn't tell the sheriff's office. Didn't want to slow down. Besides, Brannock had been quiet lately. Too quiet. No press briefings. No updates. Just a sudden hush after Lena's disappearance. Like someone had closed a curtain and dimmed the lights. Harlen took the truck and drove out past the ridge. 40 minutes of winding roads, nothing but brush and rattling fences. Then the cattle yards came into view, long abandoned, half-rotted, fences falling in on themselves. But tucked behind them, just off the dirt loop, was something new. A trailer. It wasn't marked. No signage. No mailbox. But Harlen saw the black SUV parked beside it. No plates. Windows tinted. He parked 50 yards out. Killed the engine. Stepped out slow. The ground crunched beneath his boots. Not a bird in sight. Not a sound in the wind. He moved toward the trailer, each step measured. No weapon. Just his voice and his presence. That had worked once. Maybe it would again. Maybe not. The door opened before he could knock. A man stood in the threshold. Not Dren. Not Witt. Someone else. Older. Thinner. Shirt pressed. Hair parted like it was 1950. "You're Harlen," the man said. It wasn't a question. Harlen nodded. "You with the county?" A smile. Thin. Empty. "No, sir. We don't do paperwork anymore." Then he stepped aside, and Harlen saw her. Lena Roth. Bound to a chair. Eyes wide. Unharmed, but barely. "You should sit," the man said. Harlen didn't move. "You think this is about a scam, Mr. Voss," the man continued. "But it isn't. It never was." Lena was breathing fast, but steady. Her eyes locked on Harlen's. She wasn't panicking. Not yet. The man paced behind her. "We needed a foothold," he said. "You know how that works. Buy cheap. Push people out. Rezone. Profit. But some people don't move. They dig in. People like you." Harlen's voice came low. "So you scare him?" "No," the man said. "We catalog them. You're not afraid. You're worse." He reached into his coat, pulled a folder, set it on the table. Harlen saw his own photo on top, and pages beneath. Drone shots. Notes. Routine patterns. "You've been watched," the man said. Then he turned toward Lena. "She wasn't supposed to talk, but your little email changed things. Got folks riled up." Harlen clenched his fists. "She's coming with me." The man smiled again. "You're not leaving, Mr. Voss. Not unless you see something first." He pressed a button. A monitor lit up. Footage played. A house on the edge of town. The home of an old couple Harlen barely knew, retired teachers. The video showed men breaking in. Bags loaded. Files pulled from cabinets. The couple was gone. Maybe fled. Maybe worse. "You've been watching. We've been moving," the man said. "You don't even know how many." Harlen didn't flinch. "You're sloppy. You left a trail." "Not anymore," the man replied. "And now we're cleaning up loose ends." He looked down at Lena. Then something shifted. Her hand, subtle, moved behind the chair. Harlen saw it. She had something. A sharp edge. Maybe broken glass. Maybe metal. A plan formed in seconds. Distraction. Distance. Strike. "You're forgetting something," Harlen said, stepping forward. "Oh." Harlen nodded toward the folder. "You watched. But you didn't listen. You don't understand people like me." The man turned to look at the folder again. That was the moment. Harlen lunged. The crash echoed through the trailer. Harlen hit the man hard, shoulder first, sending him sprawling into the wall. The folder spilled. Photos everywhere. Lena snapped her bonds. By the time the man recovered, Harlen was on top of him. Fists, elbows, pressure. Years of quiet strength coming back like a wildfire. Lena grabbed a chair leg. Swung. The man collapsed. Harlen stood, panting. "We go now," he said. They ran. Outside, the SUV started. Someone else had been inside. Harlen shoved Lena behind a post. The SUV roared forward. Tires spun in dirt. Gunfire. A flash from the passenger side. Harlen dove. Felt the heat of it whip past his face. Another shot. Closer. A crack in the dust near his foot. Then sirens. 3 cruisers over the ridge. The SUV peeled out, tires screaming, vanishing down the trail. Brannick's voice boomed. "Don't move." Harlen raised his hands. "She's with me. She's safe." Deputies surged forward. Guns lowered. Lena collapsed into a deputy's arms. Later, in the sheriff's office, Brannick leaned over the table. "You have no idea what you've uncovered." Harlen said nothing. "We found drives in that trailer. Documents. Names. Land deeds. This goes all the way up. Land developers, shell companies, politicians. They weren't just scamming retirees. They were targeting properties with no next of kin." Harlen nodded slowly. "Dead men don't fight lawsuits." Brannick looked pale. "We're calling the AG. Feds, maybe. This isn't local anymore." "And the guy who ran?" Harlen asked. Brannick paused. Name came up in Homeland's watch list. Used to run ops overseas. Private sector now. Harlen felt the air change in the room. This wasn't just a hustle. It was a test. A probe. And Dry Creek had been the pilot. Weeks passed. The story went national. Operation Shieldline became a name on every screen. But Harlen Voss disappeared from the coverage. By choice. He fixed his fences. Repainted the barn. Took down the old mailbox and put up a new one. Lena moved in temporarily, said she needed quiet. Safety. They didn't talk about it much. But one night, watching the sunset, she asked, "Why didn't you run when you saw the gun?" Harlen shrugged. "Didn't feel right to leave someone behind." She nodded, then said nothing more. In the valley, the winds returned. Dry Creek was still quiet, but not the same. Harlen knew there would always be another truck. Another folder. Another name no one noticed, until it was too late. But not here. Not again. Because he was watching now. And he knew the trick. Bad people didn't fear noise. They feared the quiet. The calm voice that asked one question too many, and never looked away.